in regards to motherhood. And then first, I wanted to talk about the card of the day was the strength card. And so I wanted to ask y'all, like, how do you define strength? Like, because I feel like as women, we're always being told we're so strong. It's like, that really gives me the ick. I hate being told, you're so strong. So, like, how do y'all define strength? I feel like I get the ick of, like, being the strong friend, or, like, because I really feel like when somebody says you're so strong, one is, it kind of feels like, ooh, could be me. And two, it's like, a way to bypass support. So, like, you'd rather high five me of, like, oh, you so strong, than, like, take some of this weight off me. I don't know. You don't want to help. You don't want to support. You don't want to, like, show up. You just want to tell me how strong I am. Because I feel like most of the people who want to tell you how strong you are just sitting back watching you swim against the tides. Like, you're not gonna try to throw in a lifesaver, or I don't know. So, like, being called strong gives me the ick. But I'm gonna ask y'all, like, well, how do thank you. These aren't prescription. I want to say I got them off the TikTok shop probably like a year ago. They just, like, you know, those blue light glasses. So sometimes I wear them when I feel like my eyes are starting to strain from looking at the screen too long. What else would I want to say? I feel like because I've been through so much in my life that has required strength, now, let me reframe that. It didn't require strength, it required endurance. And I think strength and endurance are two totally different things. I feel like my strongest self now, but only because I am my most vulnerable self now too. And I think because so many people think vulnerability is a weakness, it really is a mind fuck in a way. Maybe the ability to transmute the negative to a positive. Yes. I think now I'm a lot stronger because of that. My ability to transmute. And so my ability to feel, my ability to be vulnerable, I think now is what I think of when I think of, like, my greatest strengths. But before, I would say I had to endure a lot. I had to overcome a lot. And I don't know if I consider that to be strength. Hey, Dev's mom. And so I was just, like, thinking about that after I did the voiceover for the card of the day, the strength card, of, like, the things that we suppress, such as our feelings or even our gifts, honestly, when it comes down to your creativity, your curiosity. That's another thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm thinking of this meditation club that I'm starting, and I do want it to be more than just meditation. I do want it to be kind of a place where you can return to when you fall off of your rhythm, and to, like, get back into your rhythm of self-devotion. And I don't want it to be centered around, like, coming to me, but just having it be a space. Like, these are the things we do in solitude, but together, if that makes sense. Because I feel like even guided meditation, yes, I'm guiding it, but I'm guiding it through my own meditation. Like, as I'm speaking, I'm also sitting with whatever comes up. And for each person in the meditation, they are in their own meditation, which is why, like, with Lady saying her experience was so different, I like that, because that means at some point you tune me out and you're in your own experience, you're traversing your own internal world, that we are just kind of together in our aloneness. And I think the space that I'm building, that would be good. So I was thinking of having like a creativity day to where we also commune for an hour of just working on our creative pursuits. So if you're a writer, we'll still be like on Zoom together, but everybody's working on their own individual creative thing. So like, if you do content, that'll be your content hour of like scheduling out your content. If you're a writer, that'll be your hour to write. If you, whatever it is that you do, that would just be your hour to like really focus on creativity. Because I think the same that they say about prayer, of like where one or more gather. What is the saying? Where one or more gather, God is present. I think the same in terms of creativity, that like if we all gather together and work on our creative pursuits, it magnifies the flow of creativity. It magnetizes the, just the little juiciness of creativity. But let me know how y'all feel about that. Would y'all be interested in something like that? But going back to what I was initially talking about, if you just came in, I was talking about, or asking, how do you define strength? And what does that look like, I guess, in your own individual life? Of like, because I was saying, it kind of gives me the ick when people say you're so strong. But maybe it's because of how I've been defining it. Because now I was saying, like, I think in the past I have defined it as endurance, and like how much I could withstand, versus now I think is how much I'm willing to feel and how much vulnerability I'm willing to sit with and be in. And I guess speaking of vulnerability, I wanted to like extend the conversation that a lady was having on her live earlier in regards to motherhood. It's probably been like a month and a half since I had went and joined Lady Online, probably like a month and a half ago. It was after a night that I had went out. I had went out to like a club, and afterwards, I went to a club with women that I'm like building a friendship with, so like we're still getting to know each other. One of them didn't have any kids, the other one only had one, and I was telling a lady, like, sometimes it makes me feel insecure, or it brings up a sense of shame when it comes to being a mother sometimes. And I think my shame around motherhood is because I became a mother so young. I became a mother at 17, and I think there's shame around how early I became a mother, but also how many kids I have. Because that's also the conversation. Most people are like one and done, of like, you see how hard and tedious motherhood is. It's like, actually, I'll have one and I'm gonna sit my ass down. And so I was unpacking it as everybody was sharing, and even afterwards, of like, okay, there's some shame here. Let me sit with this of like what is the shame about for real? And I think for me the shame is in I almost don't even want to say it. So wait, I'm processing and working through this with y'all, I guess, in real time. I guess the shame is realizing my kids are proof of my self-abandonment in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong, I love them. I wouldn't change being their mother or anything like that, but I do feel a sense of I would not have had them if I was fully embodied. If I would have fully recognized my power, if I was fully in my if I had the mindset that I have now, I would not have had kids probably at all, or definitely not as young and definitely not as many. And so, you ain't got to give us a disclaimer. Thank you. Because I think the disclaimer is really even for me because it feels even shameful to say. It there's like mom guilt around it. Hey, Eli. And even in the live a couple months or weeks ago with lady, that's what we were talking about, is like I have so much mom guilt around taking myself back and like creating a life outside of my kids and allowing myself to feel the shame, the guilt, even sometimes resentment in regards to just belonging to myself, because there are a lot of ways that I have to create boundaries in regards to motherhood that didn't exist for many years. I'll say I've had to install a lot more boundaries in the past like 3-4 years, and even navigating how hard that is for my kids, navigating how hard that is with their fathers. And like my 2 youngest kids, their dad just moved out here, and so I've been getting like more me time with that because now he's supporting more. And even having like my youngest be calling like, come get me. Or like he be calling me to tell on his dad like, daddy wouldn't give me no juice. I'm like, man, I think I was on live and he called like, come get me. He won't give me no juice. And I'm like, I'm starting to set boundaries like, actually don't call me. Like, don't call me unless it's an emergency. Don't call me unless like it's a dire need for you to talk to me. And that's different for them, but also different for, I think, they dad too. And so just navigating this space of like taking myself back and having a life outside of my kids, there's just so much to unpack. And it a lot of time it feels defeating, because it's like, not only do I have to do the work. Hey, Megan. I'm glad you're in here. I'm talking about kind of like extending the conversation from Ladies Live about motherhood. And like, I guess I'm unpacking my own mom guilt and shame around it. Let me read, Leisha. I love hearing y'all talk about this. It helps with the guilt of not wanting children. No, I think I love to hear women talk about not wanting children and like really choosing themselves in that way. I think in the next lifetime that will probably be me. That like I don't know that I would choose to be a mother again. If I had the choice, I wouldn't. Just because I don't think maybe it would change depending on what type of childhood you had. But okay, that leads me to my next subject. So like, let me grab my little notepad. So just how like if I invite somebody on and we're unpacking and processing, I do my whole 10 reasons of why. So if you feel a way about something, to ask why 10 times and you'll get to more of the truth. I didn't have to ask 10 questions though. So I asked myself, why do you have shame around motherhood? And my answer was because it is proof of my self-abandonment. Why did you self-abandon? And because all I knew was neglect, ultimately. Why is it that all you knew was neglect? Because I didn't get parented. And that's what I was going to say. Like, so if you maybe grow up in an environment where you were fully able to be a kid, to where by the time you become a mother, you are fully mature. You don't feel like you have to like live out your childhood dreams. You don't feel like you have to go back to get your inner child. Your inner child is fully developed and embodied. Then I think like, sure, yeah, you probably do want to become a mother. But I think for me, and thinking about the childhood that I had, is like similar to Carlissa. I should not have been having kids, especially at 17. Thing about a 17-year-old, for a 17-year-old to have a child automatically lets you know neglect was present, because how does a 17-year-old even get into a position to where you are pregnant? And when I said it, like, yes, 17-year-olds have autonomy. They could be out fucking, sure, yes. But not in the way that I was. Like, when I say, like, my boyfriend could stay the night or I could stay the night at his house. And not because, like, I'm telling my parents or my dad that, like, oh, I'm finna go spend a night at his house, or he finna, like, my dad just wasn't there. So I could tell my dad I'm going to go spend a night at my best friend's house and be gone. There's no way my daughter could do that. There's no way my daughter would be able to be gone for a whole weekend with a boy. There's no way for a boy to come spend the night over here and I not know. Even she's 16 and she started dating last summer, and I would let her boyfriend come over. I would even let them like hang out in her room and like cuddle and hug each other and stuff like that. For that reason of like, I want to parent you through dating. I don't want to just throw you to the wolves and like you just go out and be doing all kind of stuff. I would rather know your boyfriend. Yes, he can come over. Sure, y'all could cuddle, leave the door open. And that way it builds a factor of trust that like, okay, when you are ready to start having sex, you're going to come talk to me about it. We could talk about birth control. We could talk about, you know, are you ready to have sex? Is this your decision? All the things, right? That like no one was talking to me about. My best friend at 17 had a child a year before me. My sister had her first child at 15. My oldest sister had her first child at 19. So like, as far as my environment, that was normal for a 16, 17, 18-year-old to be having a kid. And sure, like when I told my dad that I was pregnant, of course he was mad, but it was also like, one, my dad was 17 when he had his oldest child, so you can't be that mad. And then two, you're really mad at yourself for your own lack of parenting. That like, there's no way I should have been allowed the space to even get pregnant. But so that's what I mean. Like my feelings around motherhood and how I came into motherhood, there's also a lot of trauma around it. There's also a lot of like having to hold space for both. They're like, yes, I was irresponsible, but also these are the reasons why I was irresponsible. Even down to me having kids later, still the same thing. I'm still self-abandoning because I don't know what it even looks like or feels like, because I could say from my own experience, no, I don't know what it feels like to be parented, to be nurtured or nourished, or to have a healthy relationship with anybody, let alone myself. And then to take it further, no one around me either. So like even yesterday, I sent Carlissa a message saying like, why being in community with you guys, like even the Zoom call with Lee was so like mind blowing to me, because I don't have elders. I don't have mature women in my life up until now. Up until like really building healthy relationship with friends. So like I can't look in my family and say, this is somebody I would aspire to be like. This is somebody that is self-governing, who is embodied, who is living a life of their own. And so it really is refreshing, but I also feel like a baby in this. So like, what I will say, like in my family and in my surroundings prior to now, I would have been considered the most mature. I was the strong friend. I was the mature one. I was the sensible one out of that group. And so yeah, I was there here, but now I feel like I'm a baby starting from scratch. And when I am, that's why at the end of the ladies live, I was quiet because I'm a student here. Like I'm not a teacher. I'm not a guide in this area. In many areas, sure. Like I have this saying that like in some ways I'm a teacher and a guide, but in all ways I'm a student. And I think you have to know where like you're out of your element. You are a student in this area, instead of trying to like become a teacher, or like having your ego be so inflated that you think you're right in a situation. Like I have had to learn how to like, no, shut up. This is an area where you should be listening. You should be studying. You should have your pen and your paper. You should be taking notes. You should be reading. So, yeah, in the live, it was just like, yeah, I need to unpack this more of like why I have shame around motherhood. One, for myself, and like giving myself permission to feel it and to be honest, but also to be a better parent, because as long as I have shame around motherhood and parenting, there's also going to be resentment there. And no matter how much I try to hide it and overcompensate for it, it'll come out in subtle ways. And because I'm committed to doing the work, I'm willing to see when it shows up and like course correct and hear them out. Like especially like my oldest two kids, I'm always having to apologize. Like I was 17. My oldest is about to be 21. So like when he brings stuff up, I have to shut up. I gotta say, I'm sorry. And in hopes that me saying I'm sorry and doing things differently, asking him, well, how can I show up better now, is enough. And in the ways that it may not be enough, I gotta eat that, and I gotta rock with it in the best ways that I know how. Luckily, my kids, we have been able to work through it. But it's just, shit that I'm, I guess, having to process, and also help them process in it as well. Well, also what helps me with that and having like also compassion with myself is like, there's some things that you're gonna have to get out the mud. Like, I, as a parent, I could have been the best parent, waited all my life to have kids, and waited till now, until I'm more mature, I'm more sensible, all the things. And there will still be things that my kids would say, well, you didn't do this and you didn't teach me this. There's some things that you're going to have to like learn from life experience. And that's my saving grace in that, is like, I can't be your everything. But that's the expectation that is very heavy to carry as a mother, because it all comes back to you. That, like, actually, you are the person who brought me here. I am holding you accountable for teaching me everything, but I'm just the vessel. I'm the channel in which you came through. Don't mean I'm going to be a teacher in every area of your life either. So that's I guess how I'm able to hold space for myself in LA. Cozy, you said, do you think that is why you are so big on capacity and embodiment? Yeah, I think so. Because in order for me to do this work, I have to continuously be working on my capacity. So, like, even me saying my kids are proof of my self-abandonment, if I can admit that and I can be honest and sit with that, there's a lot of guilt and shame that come with that I gotta have the capacity to process that. And this is why a lot of mothers won't. That's why a lot of mothers will never admit how hard parenting is, and being a wife and doing all the things is, and they'll tell you should do the same, because they can't process and sit with the emotions that comes with having to really be honest about it. So, like, yeah, I think that is why I'm so big on capacity and embodiment, because otherwise, it's not, either way, it's not going nowhere. Whether you want to sit with it or admit it to yourself, either you're going to let it out, or it's just going to continue to fester within, and it's just going to continue to grow. And I think that is why so many women struggle with autoimmune disease, struggle with all kind of like health issues too. Megan, you said, doing the same with my son and his girlfriend. They need guidance, not sheltering. Yeah, when my daughter started dating, it was out, and I really had nobody to talk to about this, because most of my friends' kids are younger, or now anyway. So, like, who I would go to for advice, her daughter is younger. Her daughter is, I believe, 12 or 13. So it was interesting to, I guess, like, have to like navigate. Ain't this that same lady? Oh, let me block her. They showed up in Lady Live talking about a toy. That made me lose my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, the kids dating. Yeah, it was interesting, because I was having to ask myself, like, the things that I didn't feel comfortable with, is it because of wanting to keep my daughter like a child, or like even like, or out of fear of like teen pregnancy and all of that? Like, why certain things? Like, for instance, it was last summer, so they went swimming, and she took my youngest kids down to the pool with them, and so they were down there swimming, whatever. And I had left real quick to go pick up food, and I came right back. And as I'm getting out the car, I just see her, but she's like in her bikini, and so I'm thinking like this is kind of like her being her in her bra and panties. She probably shouldn't have this on in front of this little boy. And I told her to go put on some shorts, and she was just like, I wear this bathing suit every time we go swimming. It's families outside. It's like, why just because he here you want me to put on some shorts? And it was mostly because I know he looking at her in like a sexual way. But it was also like, is this my discomfort? Is this my issue that I'm like trying to put off on her? And like the reality is like, yeah, you're right. You would wear this bathing suit any other time. If we went to a water park, you would wear this bathing suit. There's grown men here. Like, so what is my fear here in this? So like teens and helping them through dating, I also think has been like a little bit of a shadow work for myself. And like, how was I not ushered into dating? Because I wasn't at all. I think we are aware of what reality is, rather be cautious. Yeah. With my daughter, I think I'm more like on top of her than my son in terms of like talking to her about sex. And well, mostly because my son is 20 now, so like we were having those conversations, I guess, yeah, when he was in high school. But I feel like now, I'm sure you got a whole sex life. I can't be policing what you got going on. They taught us to police those expressions of potential desire instead of teaching what it means. Yes. And you know what helped with that? I love Osho. He's a like a spiritual, like, I guess, guru of, he talks a lot about Tantra. And I read one of his books a couple years ago, and he talks about that, how he was mostly talking about like children and teens being not taught about sex and their sexual experiences and the feelings that come up. And so instead, as a culture, we teach them to suppress it, and that itself leads to perversion. And it goes hand in hand with also having them suppress their creativity. So like our creativity and our sexual energy is one and the same. So not only are we not nurturing their creativity as a child, then they get into their teenage years, and then we also don't want them to explore sex. So you are already making them shameful of both areas that like you need in order to fully embody yourself. I like Osho too. He gave language to some of my experience in my early 20s. Yeah, I love Osho. I have a couple of Osho books. I have that book that I was just telling you about, and then I have the Book of Secrets, which has taught me a lot about meditation. It's like a huge book though, so I'll grab it real quick because it's just right here. Actually, they're both together. Actually, I'll bring all three of these. The Book of Secrets, like it's a big ass book. But it gives 112 meditations to discover the mysteries of meditation. Of course, I have not read all 112, but if you struggle with meditation and you want like a practical way to approach meditation, this is a good book. Let me see what you're talking about. I should reread his stuff to see how it hits now at 40. Yeah, I really love Osho. I think even in turn, I think Osho also helped me with the whole like decentering men. Even before I knew like decentering men was a thing, or like decentering romantic relationships as a whole. Even how I look at relationships, he shifted a lot of like my perspective around aloneness. So this one, Osho, Being in Love, How to Love with Awareness and Relate Without Fear. So this was a good one. And then I grabbed this one because this one is also good, since we were talking about creativity and sexual energy being one and the same. Healing Love Through the Tao, Cultivating Female Sexual Energy. This one is really good, especially if you are doing like womb healing and you're learning how to call your energy for it. So like as our vitality for it. So like as women, we are not really supposed to lose energy, especially like sex. So like once you have sex and you orgasm, you're not really supposed to feel tired. You should actually feel more energized, because when women orgasm, we also are able to like regenerate that energy to where we shouldn't be losing it. And so like if you lose it, there is some like block or some process that's not happening. So like the whole, we are born with all the eggs that we are ever going to have. We are also born with all of our vitality. So like we lose our vitality over time, but we actually don't have to. If women were taught, I guess, Tantra ultimately at an early age, which personally that's my belief, that like back when we were in a matriarch society and like women were in power, oracles and tantrikas were used as kind of like priests. And so people would go to them for like their prayers, what they wanted to manifest, and all of these things, because they would use their body to basically generate that chi for whatever they were trying to create or manifest for people. But they were able to do it because they were regenerating their energy, not losing it, if that makes sense. And so personally, I think a lot of women who are like sex workers now are just forgotten tantrikas, that they know how to use their sexual energy for material gain. It's just they have lost the sacredness or the art of it, if that makes sense. Because I think it's deeply spiritual. But that was a good book to read, how to utilize sex as a way to like increase your vitality. Let me see what y'all talking about. Yes, this is so true. That's why we can go for a long time. Yeah. Alicia Pisha, my parents almost set me up for, I wouldn't even say my parents almost set me up for failure. I feel like they definitely did. And that's why when it comes to like my sibling situation, it's like, why aren't y'all like mad for real too? Like y'all don't have no like resentment about it either? It's just me? Okay. Like both my mom and my dad, I think, have lived very selfish lives. And that's the part where like am I unpacking of, I guess, mom guilt? I think that's what makes it even harder, because it's like, well, I don't want to abandon my kids the way that my mom abandoned me. So then, like, there's no room to feel that way. That there's no room to feel like you want your graham crackers back. Because if you do, then they'll feel abandoned, and then you're making someone feel how you felt. And it's just like, this is why I feel like it's so defeating of having to hold the nuance of the situation. Like, yes, I can feel this way. Yes, my feelings are valid. Yes, but also, you still gotta show up. You still gotta hold your responsibility. But I always kind of think, when I think about like my mom and I guess my dad too, I gotta consider who raised them, and also hold that nuance that, like, I hate the saying they did the best that they could, but I truly believe with their capacity they did the best that they could. Also, I feel like capacity is a choice. That, like, you can't use I didn't have the capacity as an excuse. Just like I can't look at my kids and say, well, I didn't have the capacity, and that's the reason. Yes, it's true. I didn't have the capacity. Also, there are areas where I dropped the ball. I have to be okay with that. I have to take that on. I have to be accountable for the ways I didn't have capacity and brought a child into it. I don't get to just say I don't have the capacity. The thing about that now is like, okay, now that I can say, okay, I didn't have the capacity then, that means I gotta do the work now to expand my capacity. And the only way I can really do that is if I am honest and say, there's some guilt here, there's some shame here, there's some resentment here. Let me feel into this so that I can transmute it, so that I can come back to a place of fulfillment in this. That's the only way. That, like, you're going to have to be able to feel it in order to expand your capacity. I think when people say, like, I just didn't have the capacity, it's because you can't feel it. That, like, admitting that you had a hand in you not having the capacity is too much to hold, especially I think if your parents aren't also taking accountability. So that's the hardship too of that. I'm choosing to take accountability while also, this is ultimately why I cut my mom off, is that I'm having to say sorry and I apologize. How can I show up better to my kids while you are telling me I did the best I could? I can't be in relationship with that. Because if I'm choosing to accept that from you, I'm going to take that as that's okay. I am saying, I'm giving you permission to harm me, and I'm also taking that on as like, this is how we relate. This is how motherhood goes. And it's like, no, in order for me to be able to expand my capacity to show up for my kids, I gotta let you go. And I think when it comes to that, is you're gonna have to process the grief and what the abandonment and what you didn't have in order to be able to do that. So, like, a lot of people still want to maintain a relationship with their parents, or I don't even want to say parents, I think people in general. Like, if you keep trying to make a relationship work that just ain't working, it's because you're still looking for something in that relationship. I think while I was still in relationship with my mom, it was because I wanted her to take accountability. I wanted her to still mother me. I wanted her to want that like, I want to repair this. And I had to get to a point where I realized she does not want to. And because she don't want to, don't really have nothing to do with me. She don't want to do the work on her own. It's too hard. And I get it. It is hard as shit. I get why you wouldn't want to do this. But because you don't want to, you also are choosing not to be in relationship with me. You can't have both. I can honor that it's too hard. You don't have the capacity. And I get what I am asking you to do. And that's why I feel like I can have grace and compassion in that. They're like, bitch, I get it. if I felt like I had a choice to not do this work and still dream, I probably would choose not to, yeah. But in order for me to grow, in order for me to evolve, in order for me to enjoy life and create and be imaginative and do the things I'm praying for and having the things that I'm praying for, I can't not take accountability. I can't not expand my capacity. So in order for me to do that, I would have to stay the same. And if I'm complaining that this is not where I want to be, and that, like, that's why I think a lot of people are stuck in victim mode that would require somebody to come save them. So that's why you're gonna believe in a God, in a religion that's gonna come and save you. That's why you gonna require a man to come and save you, because having to save yourself is a lot of fucking work. I get why people don't want to. It's a lot of work. And you're gonna have to choose. Am I ready? Am I willing to stay the same? Am I willing to just take life as it is today and live out live out my days just where I'm at, or grow? And if you continue with where you at, sure. I feel like that may work for you. That I could not imagine not growing anymore. I couldn't imagine life just being as it is and this be it. I can't imagine it. So I have to do the work. Let me see what y'all saying. I'm tired. I'm tired too. I feel like it's just always something. If it's not one thing, it's another. The one thing that I can say is I have started to enjoy the work. I like learning new things. Y'all see all the fucking books I got? I like being in spaces where y'all are teaching me shit. Is it uncomfortable at times? Definitely. But had I listened to Ladies Live, I felt triggered and said, like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not. I don't want to admit that I have shame or guilt around being a mother. And if I'm not willing to navigate that, I would also have to check out of having community. I would also have to check out of all the things that I'm saying that I want. So it's like, you're going to have to take, hey, Tan, you're going to have to, like, take both. It's the both and. And even someone else saving you is an illusion. No one can do your work. Yeah, no one can do the work. And the thing about living a delusional life is that, like, sure, you might want to only be delusional in your relationship. That's not how that works. In order for you to live in delusion, it's going to affect all areas of your life. You're going to have to live in delusion, not just be in delusion with that man. You're going to have to, your whole life is going to be warped in a way. Like, that's one thing I can say, that, like, after me and my ex went our separate ways, finding out shit about him, seeing friendships differently, seeing my family differently, it was just like, I have been blind. It was just like my eyes were open and I was just disgusted with everything. And even with myself, of like, how could you be so delusional? No, there's no such thing as selective delusion, but I will say too, that's why a lot of people will go back, because having your reality sobered up when you have been in a delusional state is a mind fuck. And I think I'm still like unpacking all the ways I've been delusional. To be honest, I think maybe now I'm seeing clear because I have addressed it in all these different areas, because I feel like it started with him, then it went to friendship, and then it went to family. And yeah, I feel like it really is life altering. That, like, for me, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just breaking up with this nigga. And then it's like, I wasn't thinking, oh, my whole life is about to change. I didn't think that deep into it. Yes, when I see old pictures and videos, I be like, who is she? Same. I be like, who is she? Both in a I think a good way and in a bad way, because I feel like there were pockets of me that I think I have lost too in this, like, sobering. That, like, there's a thing, I think, like, I was talking to my friend about this a while ago. I don't know that I'll ever be in love with somebody again. And, like, not like, oh, I fell in love, and I'm just like, I don't know if I could ever, I don't know if I could ever experience that again, because you have to be kind of out of your body. You got to be kind of delusional in order to be like, I'm so deeply in love with this person. And thinking about that, I feel like, let me give the precursor. My big three is Virgo, Cancer, Libra. So I love. Like, that setup is a lover girl through and through. So, like, just thinking about that, like, I don't know that I can ever be head over heels in love with somebody. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like in that, I've lost that naivete in a way, because I think you need to be naive in a way to fall deeply in love with somebody, because it's an illusion. You think you're falling in love with this person, and this is your soulmate, this is your twin flame, this is the end all be all, when it's like, no, that person was, what you loved about them was really the parts of you were denying. I fall in love for the first time. Now I know I can define love for myself and choose wisely. Yeah, I have this thing, like, I want to walk into love. I don't want to fall in love with nobody. I will choose to love you. And I think I will only choose to love you out of, can I fully be myself? Can I fully be all of me with this person? Do I feel safe? Do we have the same desires? So I would really be choosing this person based off of me. It really has not so much to do with all of their jazz. It would be based off of how do I feel? How am I able to show up in this relationship? Am I sacrificing myself to be in relationship with this person? And in that way, I think I have lost the desire for romantic relationship. I think because it has shifted from it being about somebody else. Like, I think I'm very fucking romantic with myself. And so it's like, anybody else, they would have to, like, it would have to be, they would have to really be fucking amazing for me to really be like, I'm going to give up my space and my time when I already don't have, I got 4 kids. I already don't have time and space. So like, I don't know. You would have to really, really woo me. I have no desire to live with a man again. Like, there's just all these different factors. Like, yeah, I don't know if this is the setup for me to marry nobody or fall in love with nobody. Now I am for having lovers though. Like, we have a good time. You going about your business. This is why I don't think love bombing is all that bad. Like, yes, love bomb me, and when the love bombing ends, so will we, and we will go on about our business. And I think because now I've cut off so many relationships, I've ended so many relationships, I trust myself to grieve. I trust myself that I'll recover. So I don't know. I think it's kind of killed my desire for romantic relationships. Let me see. I feel you. It's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm too aware. Yeah, I think once you're too aware, it kind of robs you of the Cinderella story. I'm also a lover girl. I be falling in love with my sneaky links. I've had one sneaky link since my last situation, and this is what also let me know that like I have to be careful. Because even if I'm like, yeah, love on me, you're going to fall in love with me. You're going to think you love me because I'm pretty lovable. So like, that's also what has shifted my, I guess, approach to dating, that like not being like all taken aback by somebody enjoying me or loving me or wanting to be in my space. Like, feeling chosen is not really all that is cracked up to be, because it's like, yeah, of course, yeah, you like it here. Most niggas like it here, which is why I have 4 fucking kids. So like, you're not anything special because you like it here. Yeah, niggas will fall in love, and this is basic level access. Yeah, like that, my little sneaky link situation, I wasn't even thinking like this was anything all that deep. And it was just like, I don't know. I think you lost the plot. Libra sun, Aqua, or Aquarius moon. Oh, Scorpio. That's Scorpio stellium. Gonna do it every time. I think too why that's some Libra shit. Nothing is off the table for me because I haven't been in real love before. I'm open because of who I am. Same thing, I be thinking death have to be amazing to take me from myself and what I've created. And what else? I think I realized too that like, also my healing has only made it worse because I'm more present, because I'm like fully in the experience. I don't think men are usually like used to that, like, because most women aren't in their body. They're not present. They're not regulated. So they're able to pull a lot of shit that you couldn't if somebody, like, you don't really have to do a whole lot of dating to get to know somebody. Like, if you just really listen to what they're saying, you're really present in like being with them, they gonna tell you a lot about themselves off rip. So like, we could really wrap this up day 1, day 2. But I think for them, they feel like this deep connection because I'm listening, because I'm here with you. That like you could tell I'm not in La La Land. You could tell I'm not disassociated. And because men are so arrogant and so like self-centered, they think you are so in tuned and so like zoomed into them that it just can't be you. And so like I think it also like goes to their head that like, ooh, she thinks I'm special. Ooh, she thinks, I'm all that in the back of shit. It's like, no, dang, I'm just listening to you. We're having a conversation. I say now I don't want to live with a man, but if he's what I want, that could change. I think for me, like living with somebody, it might change as I get older, as my kids get older. But I couldn't, because I've been in a blended family situation, I will never do that again. And so I couldn't see a man moving with me. I couldn't see me and my kids moving in with a man. I feel like the only way I would end up living with a man again is if like me and a dad got back together or something. And not until like they're old and gone and I'm old old and ready to be in a relationship. You can spot everything with a simple conversation. Yeah, you could even spot shit based on the questions they ask. And I think now too, just listening to people talk, if they don't ask you shit, like, oh, I didn't got all I needed to know out of this conversation. I don't want to deny myself of anything based on past experiences masquerading as love. It wasn't real, so no need for me to make choices from them. That's good. I think I can get with that because I feel like, have I really known what it's like to be in love with somebody until now? Like from a sober place, from a clear-minded space. Because I feel like I have a lot of love for my kid's father. And I think while we were dating, I was like annoyingly deeply in love with him. And I feel like even now, our relationship is good. Like there's no real beef. Yes, there were shit that happened in our relationship but I also chop it up to us being young. We were learning shit through each other. I don't hold a great deal of like resentment for him. But I also think like I don't know what it feels like I said, to walk into being in love with somebody instead of like just falling in love with somebody. Yes, I'm big on that. If you don't ask me questions, I know what you're here for. Male and female friends. Yeah. That's something I think about a lot now. Like, are you curious about me? And also, are you considerate? Because you can't fake consideration. Like, consideration takes intention. Consideration takes forethought. And so that off rip will let me know, one, how if you're considerate, you'll also be curious, and thoughtful. Because that's really all consideration is that like you want to get to know me. You want the best for me if you're considering me. And that's not something you can fake. I think most times you can't spot somebody being inconsiderate because you haven't learned how to consider yourself. It has made it easier for me to spot when somebody's being inconsiderate or they're not supporting me or holding space for me because I started to do it for myself. So like now I don't necessarily need you to do it. What I like you to, yeah. But if I don't need you to, so I'm on my cup is already full as far as consideration go. You not considering me is also, you're not going to hold my attention. That's why I stopped saying but I won't do anymore in love because past fake love shouldn't dictate. Yeah, I like that. I feel like if I get a totally new experience in love, you're right. I don't know. I do think the person would have to be awfully amazing. Like, it would have to, like, really sweep me off my feet, child. I think me and my friend talk about this a lot. Like, while it's good to do self-awareness work, self-discovery, all the things, it can fuck up your life a little bit, though. Because, like, now you a little too aware. Like, y'all can probably gonna think I'm creepy about this, but I even pay attention to how people breathe. How they breathe, their eyes, like their pupils, because that will tell you if somebody is disassociated or if somebody is manic. Their eyes, the size of their pupils, and if their breath is labored, yeah, like nervous system shit. So it's like, these are things I probably shouldn't be paying attention to, but I am. Don't want to argue, fight, talk loud. We'll just walk away now. Yeah, I'm okay with having a difficult conversation, but don't you raise your voice. Raising your voice, talking to me harsh. Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Like, I do miss the being in La La Land a little bit. Cause I feel like in the La La Land, it's fun. It's fun. That's when you get the butterflies. That's when you like, oh, I got a crush. It's like, are men that interesting to get you there consciously? I don't know. I haven't met one. It's like a unicorn. Cursing at me and wanting to fight are zero tolerance. If they do that, they aren't my person. Next. Yes. And I think this has changed with me evolving too, because I feel like me and Valerie, yeah, would be all for arguing with you. Not fighting with you, but arguing with you, yeah. We're going to be going back and forth. But, like, now, I feel this way across the board. I don't want to be in a relationship with nobody I got to be mean to. And that was the thing about, like, me being mean before, is it was environmental. You know, like, I didn't realize that wasn't really my personality. I felt like I was in danger. So it's like, actually, I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody I gotta be yelling at, and I'm having to cuss you out. Let me respond to her. Practice for what? Sorry, I'm texting my daughter. She asked me will I pick her up from school late. She's talking about she got practice. You got practice or you got detention? Listen, I told one past situation, this is not the type of love I want. It's heaven on earth with me. If they don't want heaven, they can go somewhere else. Not interested. That's something I agree that, like, as much as men be talking about be my peace, they don't know what peace is for real. And maybe it's not just a men thing, because Jillian in here saying the same thing. So maybe it's just a people thing, that like the people that's talking about be my peace don't even know what peace is, or you wouldn't be asking nobody to be your peace. It's either you come in this motherfucker peaceful, or you not gonna be here. How late am I? I have been on here for a minute. I'll probably only be on here for another like 15, 20 more minutes. I was hoping you came in here earlier because I was talking about, or I guess extending the conversation about motherhood. I don't feel like talking about it all over again, but basically I was talking about a little bit of what we talked about when I came on live that time with you, of like the shame around motherhood and mom guilt and shit. I asked a few men what peace mean to them, and they described control. Yeah. I think peace to them is being able to do whatever they want to do. They're like, I don't think the average man know how to just like sit down and like, I feel like they be on the go. Like even my kid's father, since he moved out here, I could just tell, like, sit down somewhere. Like, you don't even have nothing to do. You're making things up to do. Like, before you moved out here, you was talking about how stressful, and he's a truck driver, so you were talking about, like, how stressful work is, how long hours you were working, and now you're in this window in between, like, starting his new job that, like, you have time to rest. And, like, you won't sit down somewhere. I don't get it. They have to be able to accept love and goodness. I will not fight you to love you. Be your own peace. Yeah. Because I think, too, to fight somebody trying to love them is going to immediately take you out of being loving. I like go back to, I don't want to be in a relationship with nobody I gotta be mean to. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Do y'all have anything? Oh, lady, I did have a that I talked about in the beginning with meditation space club. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet, but I was thinking of like how else to, I guess, incorporate a practice of devotion in it that isn't like about me guiding a space, but more so like finding your rhythm in your devotional practices. And like everybody is kind of like in their sharing in their aloneness, similar to like meditation. Like I'm guiding the meditation, but I'm in my own meditation as I'm guiding it. You're in your own meditation. Like at some point, I think y'all tune me out anyway. So like you can have your own experience, the things. Like I'm just guiding you to a meditative space. So it's individual in that way, but how to, I guess, expand it in a way of like also in the other ways you can show up in your self-devotion. And so I was thinking about maybe adding a day other than Monday for creativity. So I was saying like whatever your creative project is, if you're a writer, that'd be like your writing hour. If you do content creation, that could be your hour of like planning out your content, or whatever it is that you do, that like that's just a creative hour for us to like be together, but also in our individual projects. So like maybe make a playlist, we listen to music and do our own thing, but that'll be like a dedicated time and space for you to like tune into your creativity, which I think, which I'd be interested in doing something like that. Yeah, like an admin day. I thought it'd be a cute way of kind of like a prayer. Cause you know how they say like where one or more gather, God is present. Where one or more gather, it magnifies the creativity. And Jillian wants to DJ for us. She could do that like Wi-Fi for us while we work. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be at 5 in the morning, though I do think it would be good at 5 o'clock in the morning. It could be like later in the day. And then like Tony, I know you are on Pacific time. I'm not gonna say it over. You know what? California time. So like with the meditation, if you did want to sign up, because it'll be like a membership type of thing eventually, I'll save the like replays. So not just for that too, if you miss a meditation Monday, you can still tune in, but also it could also be like that'd be your meditation that you listen to throughout the week. So you'll have it as a replay as well, and then that way we could, I guess, build like a meditation library type of situation too. That would be fun. I'm down for a creativity hour. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Okay. I'm excited for this. So thank you, lady, for encouraging me to do the meditation club. Whenever I think about like offering myself to meditations, you know how they say like you would do your gift for free, or like you don't think where you're gifted is a gift because it's like you do it naturally. That's how I feel about meditation. Because that's really how I feel like that's how all of this started. That's how I started, I guess, my self-awareness, self-development journey as a whole. I would say even I started really meditating even when I started making soap, which I'm excited to bring that back to. I feel like I just want to do it as like a project before I would bring it back as like an actual business, because well, for y'all who didn't know, I used to have like a natural skincare business. But then I used to do like a lot of farmers markets and pop-ups, and that was very exhausting. And so it turned it into like obligation instead of just me doing it for fun. Yeah, I want to enjoy it again, because I do enjoy the creative process even, and a lot goes into soap making. Like, you make the soap, you got to let it cure for 30 days before you cut it. Cutting is the best though. It's like a sensory thing, I think. But like exploring different herbs and oils and all the things, you really kind of got to be like a little scientist to make soap. When I first started making soap, I thought it was gonna be like such a simple little thing, until I made my first batch and it like exploded. And it was like, oh no, I really have to like learn how to do this. Because the thing about being a Virgo, we think we could do anything. Like, we think, oh, I could do that. And it's like, no, girl, you actually have to like become a student of this thing to learn how to do it. But the process of learning was also like fun to me. But that's also something about me, that I will try something new, I will learn it, and if I don't like it at the end, I'll stop. That's how I felt about doing makeup. Um, I was a freelance makeup artist for a little bit. Um, I did photography for a little bit. I did photography until I did a wedding. I did a wedding and I was like, oh no, I never want to do this again. But I do like doing like still frame photography. That's the thing. I feel like I didn't get into it long enough to like find what I enjoy. So like I did that one wedding. It was like, oh no, I hate this. Cause like trying to capture everything while people are moving and just going about is much harder than doing like family portraits and shit like that. I would say like family portraits is probably more my jazz, or like nature photography. I think is more my thing. Yeah, weddings were way too stressful. But like last year I did me and my kids like family pictures, and they were so cute. I think I'm gonna make that like a new little tradition that we'll do like family pictures every Thanksgiving. That little one was ooh, that was our first family pictures since he's been born. Cause like we used to do family pictures all the time, but I think like when me and my ex broke up, I don't know. The last couple of years have been chaotic. I haven't been wanting to do no family pictures. So that was our first like family picture together with him being the youngest, and oh, he acted a fool. Cause we did him at the park. He was running all through the park. He got dirty during it. It was just like, yeah, let's wrap this up. I think I will probably enjoy doing family portraits of other families, not my own. Because it turned into me yelling at them and like, get your ass in the picture. And it's like, if you got to do all of this, you probably shouldn't be taking a picture. But it was cool for the time being. I think that's it. Still, if you want to sign up for the meditation club, send me your email. You can DM it to me. It starts Monday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. It will turn into like a membership situation. So if you want to see if that's something you want to invest in, it'll still be like something reasonable. It won't be like an outrageous amount. But if it's something you want to invest in, dip your pinky toe in to see if that's something you want to do. Come Monday, because Monday will be free. And so send me your email, and how it'll go, it'll be an hour, but the first probably like 30 minutes will be meditation, and then it'll be journaling for probably about 15-20 minutes, and then ending with a breathing exercise. It'll probably start with breath work and then also end with different breathing exercises, mostly like breath of fire. Because I'll explain it more, but breath of fire is a good way to like direct your energy for the day. So how Elle gave that suggestion to like command your day, doing breath of fire in the morning is a great way to like command your day, because it activates your vitality in a way. So like it also, you could kind of set the direction of like where you want this energy to go as you're activating it. Command yourself so you can command your day. Yes. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Nope. All right, I gotta get back to work. I'll talk to y'all. Oh, I guess I'll be on here live with Lady tomorrow. I think everybody in here was in your live earlier, except for maybe Tony. I'll be going live with Lady of the House tomorrow night. We're having like a girl dinner at 7 Central Standard Time. So get your things, your wine, your dinner, your snacks, your substances, and we'll be kikiing and having a good time tomorrow night. So tune in. All right, bye y'all.